what do healthy boundaries actually look like in practice? I want to make this practical for you because I find that people generally understand the concept of boundaries well before they understand what one actually looks and feels like for them. A healthy boundary sounds like, I'm not available for phone calls between 5 and 8 p.m. on school nights because that time is for the kids. Or it might be, I need 24 hours before a change to the schedule. Or I will not continue this conversation because it's become disrespectful. I'm going to step away if that happens again. These are not attacks. They are not ultimatums. They are simply honest statements of what you need in order to function at your most authentic. But a boundary can also sound like this. I need to tell you that when conversations go like that, I shut down and I don't hear anything that follows. Can we find a different way to communicate this? That is a boundary communicated as self-disclosure rather than an accusation. And it tends to get an entirely different response from people. The key distinction is always this. Am I drawing a line from a clear sense of what I need? Or am I drawing it from pain, from retaliation, from the desire to control the outcome? Because both feel similar, especially inside a heated moment, but they do produce very different results. One creates clarity, while the other, unfortunately, often creates escalation. So here is how you begin to build a genuinely healthy boundary rather than a wall or a wound. First off, I want you to identify one situation in your life right now where you consistently feel drained, resentful, or even invisible. Just one. You do not need to overhaul everything right now. Once you've got that in mind, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions about this situation. First, what is this situation costing me? What am I giving that I did not consciously agree to give? Second, what would I actually need in order to feel respected and genuinely okay here? And then third, and this is important, have I ever communicated that clearly? Or am I just hoping the other person figures it out on their own? Because one of the most common traps that I see is this. We carry a boundary internally that we never say out loud. We feel resentful when it's crossed, but the other person has no idea it exists. And a boundary that is not expressed isn't yet an actual boundary. It's a private source of hurt that is waiting to become resentful. The most powerful, liberating, and honestly scary moment you can take is when you move from internal and unexpressed boundaries to external and clearly, calmly held ones. It's a statement of what you need. Not something like, you always do this, but something more like, this is what I need in order to be okay. This shift changes the entire nature of the conversation, and it gives the relationship an actual chance to grow. So with this in mind, our happiness hack for this week is what I call the 1 boundary experiment. I want you to identify just one situation where you need a boundary and you do not currently have one. Please don't choose the biggest or most complicated one. Something that's manageable. Something where you could realistically make a small change this week. Once you've got it in mind, I want you to do one of 2 things. Firstly, if you are ready, communicate that boundary to those that are involved. Simply, calmly, and honestly. Not as a confrontation, but as a statement of what you need. And if you're not ready for that, that is completely okay. Start with the internal version. The next time you are in that situation, Just notice what you feel, name it, and remind yourself, I am allowed to feel this. I am allowed to need this, and I am allowed to say so when I am ready. A boundary does not have to be spoken out loud to begin changing these things. The first step is simply deciding inside yourself that your needs matter. Not more than everyone else's, but as much as them, with the same care and attention you've been giving everyone else all along. This quiet decision has a way of reshaping everything that follows. Because when you believe your needs matter, you start making choices that reflect that belief. And those choices, over time, build a life that actually fits you.